My friends, let me ask you a question. Right out of the gate. In fact, I'll ask you two questions. What would you do if authorities ordered your church to stop feeding the homeless? And what would you do if your 5-year-old daughter was ordered to get government permission before setting up a lemonade stand? Well, that's what Michael Snyder wants to know in his latest piece at the end of the American Dream blog. He writes the following. These things are actually happening in America today. With each passing day, America goes further down the road towards becoming a police state. Just yesterday, I wrote about a young mother that was threatened with arrest in California for not properly vaccinating her children. We've entered a time when our government bureaucrats are micromanaging all of our lives, and it's time for us to say that enough is enough. The bigger government gets, the more oppressive it tends to become. But most people don't understand that there's an inverse relationship between liberty and the size of government. The more government grows, the less freedoms we have, and this is true on the federal, state, and local levels. For example, all over America, laws are being passed that make it illegal to feed the homeless. Every new law, rule, or regulation restricts our liberties and freedoms in some way, and in this case, these sorts of laws restrict our freedom to help our neighbors in need. Earlier today, I came across another example of this. A church in Malibu, California had just been ordered to stop giving food to the homeless. Unquote. My friends, the fact that this is happening is not news. I've been reporting on things like this for years. The fact that it's continuing is a tragedy. The fact that someone in our government, someone in any government, state, local, hasn't said, hey guys, what the hell are we doing? We're following laws to illogical conclusions. If we can't allow those who are the most compassionate to use their compassion and feed those who are the most needy, then what the hell have we become? And that's a question that continues to need to be asked. Lemonade stands continue to be shut down. Churches, synagogues, other houses of worship continue to be prohibited from feeding hungry people because of some arcane regulations that some bureaucrat dreamed up. It's mean-spirited, it's un-American, it's inhuman. God gives us the ability to have compassion on our fellow human beings, on animals. And if we're not allowed to use it, then it's as if we have been placed in a cage like an animal. We can't be fully human unless we're allowed to express the love we have for our fellow human beings. I mean, doesn't that make sense? I think it does. You'll call me and you'll tell me if you think it does. Today's Riell Truth. We'll be right back.
The American Dream never beat this. Please call 245. That's 1-800-05-245 to make your donation. Or send a check with the money to PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Help us speak for it. Please, on the air. Thanks. Choice City Electric in Fort Collins reminds listeners, out of sight should not mean out of mind. Let's remember our brave men and women in the military by sending care packages to them while they are away. You need not have a specific soldier in mind to help. Just call your local veterans organization. This message, Choice City Electric in Fort Collins, your electrical and retrofit specialist. Visit them online or call 970-493-4077. That's 970-493-4077.
Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming and is now already in the world. 1 John 1.
Guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. I am Howard Riell. Let me know what you think about that. 877-254-7524. Item from PJ Media. Have you ever heard of David Kenneth Smith? Chances are you haven't. He's a rabid anti-Trumper, thus his story didn't fit into any convenient narrative. News of his arrest was treated as a local story with no national significance. However, if this freak had been a right-wing activist, he'd have been a front-page story in every paper in the country. Smith, 39, was arrested in Orange County, California on November 2nd following an investigation involving the Joint Terrorism Task Force. He was charged with one felony count of making criminal threats after threatening a university professor through emails and posting threatening YouTube videos. In one, he talked about going on a, quote, killing spree, unquote. My friends, I don't know anything about David Kenneth Smith, but someone who threatens to go on a killing spree probably needs to be watched. What's more than obvious is that when you have people threatening and then committing acts of violence, they're almost always on the left politically. You don't find conservatives doing things like this or even saying things like this. And that difference between left and right is worth noting. Let's spend some time listening to what Sean Hannity had to say last night on Fox News. Go.
Welcome to Hannity. This just breaking this moment. Donald Trump Jr. responding to a
What will you discover with the new Ultimate
My friends, in their world, they want to shut down thought. That's why they're the PC police. That's why liberalism on campus is shutting down free speech. It is a very dangerous time, and only we can make it less dangerous. Let's go back to Hannity. My friends, follow Hannity's exploits online, but censorship is very real. Just yesterday, I was talking about students across college and university campuses in this country who are not only willing but eager to trade away free speech, all for being what they think is safe. What are these snowflakes going to do when they realize they're not safe, no matter what they do? We're going to take a break. We'll come back. You're safe because you're here listening to Riell Truth. We'll be right back.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America's News Network.
Chaplain Collins LLC salutes our emergency first responders for their professionalism and integrity. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collins LLC, with 2 locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chaplaincollins.com. Picolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were affected by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Picolo's restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian in Mexico, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5156. 303-757-5156.
My friends, welcome back to Riell Truth, 877-254-7524. There is no honor among thieves, and that includes Democrats, which is why they are turning on and eating each other now, which I am loving. Here's Rush Limbaugh.
But the non-universal situation, Democrat Party, it is, folks, this is amazing. We don't see this. We do not see this kind of thing happen in the Democrat Party. And it is happening. And we need to take note of it. Because, and even our brother Byron York back in office, I made the point on Friday that since the Clinton took office in 1982, other than the Denver elections and stuff like that, which everybody knew, we've never had one act of dishonesty from anybody that has worked with the Clintons. A couple of FBI agents or Secret Service agents worked for people buried in the war with the night by Libya. We've never had anything like this. Byron York says, you know what? They actually had a president who really didn't enjoy his work. But nevertheless, we're for it. We're for it with Brett Baer on the Fox News channel. This is not this unprecedented. We do not, we never have had an intimate news cycle. The first in-person with the Clintons was in their White House days, first White House days, inside the Democratic Party. We've never had anything like this. There's never been a telephone book. There has never been, other than I say, declared FBI agent. But we've never had anything like this. And the drive-bys, this is incredible revolution. The drive-bys are actually turning on Brazil. It's actually somewhat predictable. But Trump is not used to this. That's the thing. Democrats are not used to the treatment that we get. And just getting the container open. Just getting the permission to drive-by this and getting it straight up Trump. Just getting it from the head from Trump early. Donna Brazil says in her book that she feared for her life after the Seth Rich murder. She carries the shades in her house and snails to confront her back at home. The Twitter wasn't making that up. Donna Brazil wrote that she was furious. You know who Seth Rich was? Seth Rich is a guy that worked in the DNC. And he was murdered outside his home. Right. Well, we're really not allowed to talk about Seth Rich. Well, they may not be able to talk about it at Fox News. We can talk about it here. Seth Rich worked in the DNC, and it was thought by some that he was the inside source that had leaked the stuff to WikiLeaks. Not the Peninsula stuff. This is the hacking the Peninsula stuff of who might have been serious. And he was murdered. His death is heard, and then there were confidential reports that one of the witnesses indicated he had parents in the family and said, oh, and there were people that were kind of making it worse for him. And then the news was Hannity and Fox News and ways all kinds of hurry hell about it. But basically, so Donna is out of the blue. Here comes a woman in her 40s feeling that when this guy was working for whoever he was for, she's scared for her own life. She shot the brains from her husband and snipers kidnapped children. So this has been working out there. It's unknown, and she's been writing a book. You know, the Seth Rich story came up, and it was never followed. I'm running out of key detail on this. My memory is running out of key detail about why it was suspected that his death was related to this. The cops couldn't find the evidence. They couldn't find the cook, right? That's what it was. And there were people within Hillary Clinton, the guy who was working for her CEO, that was rumored that somebody put in her liquor and it was stuff. And the something that it was Russia, i.e., you didn't do it, you don't do this to us. And the family went nuts and were torturing this because it was something that was not very good for the other side. And
friends, let me interrupt, Rush. You don't think it's possible that the Democrats would actually have someone killed for spilling the beans, do you? You don't think they're the kind of people who would do that, do you? You don't think they're so hungry for power that they would do that, do you?
Under 282 and the email address of rushcall@EIB.net.
Let's suppose that you're writing...
My friends, I don't know if you're planning on reading her book. It's probably worth reading just to get the juicy parts about how the Democrats might be sniping at her through a window. But don't buy it, because that'll just fuel the Democrat fire. Get it out of a library if you have to.
Seriously considered replacing your request on the ticket with Vice President Joe Biden after threatening collapse in a 9/11 attacks. Never forget that. Lily was at ground zero with her staff, doctors, and children. After the clinical and she is not in the service.
Of course they did, because rats eat each other at a certain point. And that's what the Democrats are. Item from The Guardian: the globe's richest 1% own half the world's wealth, according to a new report highlighting the growing gap between the super rich and everyone else. The world's richest people have seen their share of the globe's total wealth increase from 42.5% at the height of the 2008 financial crisis to 50.1% in 2017, or $140 trillion, according to Credit Suisse's Global Wealth Report published on Tuesday. My friends, are you part of that 1%? If you are, I want to have a chat with you. We'll be right back.
Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton would like to take this time to say thank you to all the brave men and women in the armed forces who have served our country. Business owners, consider hiring them as our most dependable resource. And to those heroes back home and missions abroad, know that your dedication, selflessness, and courage are appreciated. And God bless America. This message is from Animal House Taxidermy in Brighton. I'm proud to salute the fighting forces of our country. This is my the American thing that that's 1-800-056. The check for the money was about 175 for Johnstown, Colorado. It was 5 people. About 175 for Johnstown, Colorado. It was 5 people. confessed and did not deny, but confessed, I am not the Messiah. And they asked him, what then? Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. Are you the prophet? And he answered, no. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
It could be that your 24-hour Walmart supercenter not be enough. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, and courageous than the United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families put the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associate at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care. Here's the blocker plan that reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be appropriate. We want to applaud the youngsters and upcoming youth at the street that no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. As for the blocker plan, located at 366 Grant Street in November, serving our area 1943 and specializing in natural life HD and pork and complete custom process. Call 303-658-2240. That's 303-658-2240. With the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
My friends, I told you weeks ago to start listening to Laura Ingraham on Fox, the Ingraham Angle. Every night she's got a powerful show. Here's what she was doing last night.
And good evening from Washington. I'm Laura Ingraham. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ingraham Angle. Let's get right to our top story. Breaking news out of the Department of Justice about a possible special counsel investigation targeting Hillary Clinton.
Lock her up. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
In a letter obtained by Fox News, we've learned that Attorney General Jeff Sessions is directing prosecutors to take a closer look at the 2010 sale of Uranium One to a Russian-backed company and the Clinton Foundation's alleged unlawful involvement in it. Clinton's alleged donations to the Clinton Foundation amounted to a quid pro quo for Hillary's State Department to sign off on the transaction, which gave Russia control of about 20% of America's uranium capacity. And according to a letter from DOJ to the House Judiciary Committee, the Attorney General is open now to the possibility of appointing a special counsel to look into the matter and other matters related to the Clintons. And news comes ahead of Mr. Sessions' highly anticipated testimony tomorrow before the House Judiciary Committee. Joining us now exclusively for a reaction are two House Republicans who want a special counsel to investigate Mrs. Clinton, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio and Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. You guys wrote an op-ed and you asked Jeff Sessions to move forward on a special counsel. Congressman Jordan?
Yeah.
Are they listening?
Yeah, but they're definitely listening. You talked about the headline tonight in the Washington Post. Sessions considers appointing a second special counsel. We sent a letter on July 27th outlining why we think it's warranted. We met with Attorney General Sessions and Justice Department staff on September 28th. So far, we've got nothing, but it's amazing. Today, we do an op-ed, and suddenly the Department of Justice has had a come-to-Jesus moment, and now there's going to be a special counsel. When we start talking about a special counsel, that's exactly what has to happen when you think about how the things we've learned and how serious they are. The American people want answers. We want to give them those answers. We think a special counsel is the way to go.
And Congressman Gaetz, let's go through the many issues, the myriad issues. We have the Clinton Foundation. We have Uranium One. We have the way Comey handled a potential indictment, announcing the investigation, then announcing there would be no indictment. His process for going about this investigation, not being present at important interviews, immunity deals struck with people like Cheryl Mills. Yep. What among those many things, and again, our viewers, heads are swirling, What are the most concerning elements of those, given what you both know already about this?
So many of these scandals link back to the Clinton Foundation, and it highlights that the American people are tired of this double standard where there's one set of rules for the Clintons and another set of rules for everyone else. Now, we're 6 months into this investigation of President Trump and his team in Russia. They found nothing. But look at the treasure trove of information that continues to be found out about the Clinton Foundation functioning essentially as a money laundering operation for the Uranium One deal. And that really ought to concern us. Our uranium assets are precious. We're an importer of uranium. It's crazy to give Russia this access to our uranium assets, but you have the very people that are now investigating President Trump involved in approving this deal and then silencing the witness who was ready to tell us that bribes and kickbacks were contributing to undermining America's interests. It's crazy. We need a special counsel to go after the Clinton Foundation, and Robert Mueller and Rod Rosenstein are way too conflicted to proceed against the president.
Now, Rosenstein would have to call for the special counsel, correct? Is that right?
I'm not sure of that. We don't know the answer to that, but when we sent our letter, we sent it to both Attorney General Sessions and to Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. So we'll see what we do.
This goes back to Sessions recusing himself from anything related to
we don't know how far that goes. What we do know is stuff you brought up, Laura. James Comey called the Clinton investigation a matter, not an investigation. James Comey began drafting an exoneration letter prior to interviewing Secretary Clinton before the investigation was over. When he ultimately gets fired, which he should have been a long time ago, but when he's fired, what does he do? Leaks a government document through a friend to the New York Times. And what was his goal? He told us under oath to create momentum for a special counsel. And who does that special counsel have to be? His best friend, his predecessor, his mentor, Bob Mueller, who was the guy who was conflicted in this whole Uranium One deal. So when all those facts come up, not to mention the dossier, when all this comes out, we're saying, if this doesn't warrant a special counsel, what the heck does? That's all we said. And finally, today, they finally decide, oh, there's an op-ed today. Maybe we better answer Congress, who 3.5 months ago sent us a letter demanding it clear back then.
Congressman Gates, what do you think did take so long here? I think a lot of us who are, big fans of Jeff Sessions, and I'm one of them, I just find this to be curious. It's almost like anything that touches Russia, everyone's afraid of touching. Because you think, oh, you're trying to cover up for, some phantom collusion. You're trying to skid the tracks for Trump. This does go to national security, the integrity of the justice system, the credibility of Jim Comey, and how he handled this investigation from the beginning. When I heard that he wasn't present, unless something's changed, he was not present when Hillary Clinton was interviewed. How can he not be present? How do they have no notes of that? No transcript of her testimony?
Well, it's
It happened on a Saturday, I believe, on 4th of July weekend, if my memory serves me correct.
It's absolutely ludicrous that James Comey made the decision to start drafting an exoneration letter before interviewing witnesses and before interviewing Hillary Clinton herself. Your question is, why did it take so long? And why tonight do we have, on the eve of Jeff Sessions' testimony before the Judiciary Committee, a statement that they're open to a special counsel rather than what Jim and I would like, which is the appointment of a special counsel?
My friends, if it walks like a duck...
Jeff Sessions, in his testimony to the Senate, said he was recused on any matter that had any nexus to the Clinton Foundation. There was no legal obligation for Jeff Sessions to say that or do that, but he did. There is no way to investigate the Uranium One deal without looking into the Clinton Foundation filling out deposit slips with millions of dollars of donations from the Russians. So that appears to be the challenge, the nexus. And we certainly cannot leave to Mr. Rosenstein the question of appointing the special counsel.
My friends, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If it looks like the swamp is colluding to protect the Clintons for God knows what reason, I've heard some people suggest that the Clintons are threatening people's lives. I've heard people suggest that the Clintons have the goods on some people, on a lot of people. And so everybody's got to cater to them so the truth never becomes known. I don't know if any of that's true, but what I do know is that the Clintons are the third rail in Washington, D.C. No one, including Jeff Sessions, wants to go near them. Stinks. Item from CNN, Dateline, Tripoli, Libya. 800, says the auctioneer. 900, 1,000, 1,100, sold for 1,200 Libyan dinars. Not a used car, a piece of land, or an item of furniture, not merchandise at all, but two human beings. One of the unidentified men being sold in the grainy cell phone video obtained by CNN is Nigerian. He appears to be in his 20s and is wearing a pale shirt and sweatpants. He's been offered up for sale as one of a group of, quote, big strong boys for farm work, unquote, according to the auctioneer, who remains off camera. Only his hand, resting proprietorily on the man's shoulder, is visible in the brief clip, unquote. My friends, two pieces of bad news. Number one, slavery is alive and well in the year 2017. Bad news number two, it's happening in Libya, and the Democrats have been bringing Libyans to this country. You hear the immigration lottery? Exactly. We'll take a break and we'll come back, my friends. Lots more for you. Stick around.
And of his hopeless we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the person or thing to be seen. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Paris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Paris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Paris Survival. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abducted. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
My friends, one of the people in the media for whom I have tremendous respect is Larry Elder. He's an attorney. He's a radio talk show host for close to 30 years. When he speaks, I listen. Here he is giving a talk to an audience. Let's hear what he has to say.
Time and time again, it is important to fathers and mothers. Back in 1955, the guy named Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who later on became a Democratic senator, wrote a report called The Negro Family of Faith and National Action. I was in college in 1970, and we read the book when I was a freshman. And most of the white kids, I went to an Ivy League school, about 10% of school was black. Most of the white kids called the man that wrote the book racist, patriarchal, and condemned him. And I went back and raised my hand and I said, you know what, I'm looking at this city, I'm beginning to see more and more single-parent households and seeing a lot of guys acting out, and I think maybe we're onto something. We got calls on Uncle Tom by the white kids, and Hurricane by the white kids, and Uncle Tom by the students of the black kids are in the class. Same thing's happening right now. Fact is, in 1955, 25% of black kids were going outside the race. The number now is 73%. And I didn't say this, Obama did. A kid raised out of is 5 times more likely to go poor and commit crimes, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to end up in jail. Tupac Shakur didn't do it. He said, I know for a fact, had I had a father, I would have been more disciplined, I would have had more confidence. I once interviewed a guy named Royce Freeman, who used to be a head of the NAACP. One of the few so-called black leaders I get on my show. I've called Jesse 50 times, I've Sharpie 50 times, next thing you know, 100 times over for me. But Royce Freeman did for me. And I said, Miss Lady Crazy, as between the presence of black racism or the absence of black fathers, which poses the bigger threat to the black community? Without missing the beat, he said the absence of black fathers. It's a good point. And what we've done in our country is incentivize women to marry the government and allow men to abandon their financial and moral responsibilities. You know, Johnson laughs the war on poverty. There is a quote that's attributed to him in a book written by a man named Ronald Kessler. And he said, once the effects of my new Great Society program filter down, I'll have these N-words voted Democrat for the next 2 years. I'm not saying it was a plot. What I'm saying is he created this incentive that has destroyed families, not just black families. 25% of white families today are now born, white boys are now born outside of wedlock. 50% of Latinos are born outside of wedlock. The only percentage that's higher than the black percentage are Native Americans on reservations, 80%. And this direct relationship between that, dropping out of school, going to jail, all the other social problems that we talk about. Starts with the family. When I was growing up, I had 2 brothers, older brother, younger brother, I'm in the middle, and I could not stand it. I could not stand it. I was mad, I was silly, never mad about the same things. We couldn't quite figure out what he was mad about. When my dad would come home, we would have toys on the floor, and my dad would kick the toys out of the room. Now these are, by that age, I'd already figured out what's in Santa Claus. My dad, my mom bought all the gifts. So he's buying gifts, and because he's mad at the toy on the floor, he's kicking. And sometimes it's so hard to get rid of them. But you never see full reaction in me. It was volcano of anger, and I would not get it. I wouldn't buy head gifts. And when I was about 10 years old, my dad started working. He started saving his nickels and dimes. And started working for a particular union. So all of us working, brothers not working. Nobody wants working. You get mad, you start schooling. So we're driving. It's not as big as this room. And 15 stores. And my dad would go up to everybody in the restaurant to hear what he was doing. And I'd like to say I had enough cash in to say the next time my dad worked in the restaurant, I said to myself, next time he does it, I'm going to do it. But I laid the phone and put me there. So it was a restaurant for the people. My dad and my wife. My family was we came home, we paid $10 for this trip. No, $10 for all of us working with me and my dad. And so that was the work, and I said, I'm coming to work. And so I came in and worked, and I didn't speak to him. And I said, when I spoke to him, I didn't get to speak to him. I mean, not even how it was ran, you're poor, not. I was able to graduate high school, college on the East Coast, and last time in the Midwest, and work with my dad, but I never talked to him personally. I would call at the house, my mom would answer the phone, I'd talk to her, I would never talk to her for 10 years. So I'm beginning to have a really difficult history. And I don't know why, but I'm beginning to think it's probably because I'm going to have some sort of unresolved issue with my dad. I don't know. So I called my secretary and I said, cancel all my appointments, I want to go. When I visited LAU, I called my mother and she wanted to work there. I didn't want anybody to work there. I didn't take my work there. I walked in, took care of the woman to the restaurant. Walked in, 1:30 before 2:30. I had both my bags. I walked in, my dad was 7, and I said, I'm talking to you. What did you think? What did I do? I took my bag in the back. I said, no, Dad, nothing good is ever part of me. I was going to call him son of a bitch. I said, he's called me my dad was son, and he's good for you. And my dad was sitting there for a while.
All right, guys, we're going to stop here because we got a commercial coming up. Go to YouTube. In fact, I'll just put it on my Facebook page. Listen to the rest of this video. What Larry Elder has to say is always interesting. Item from the Associated Press. Is a 13-year-old girl old enough to agree to sex with an adult? That's a question that France is asking itself as the government prepares to set a legal age for sexual consent for the first time. Twice in recent weeks, French courts refused to prosecute grown men for rape after they had sex with 11-year-olds because authorities couldn't prove coercion. Unquote. What the article here doesn't say, but I will say, is that this whole issue is being brought to bear by the insufferable number of Muslims who've moved into France. And these guys regularly have sex with girls who are 11, 10, 9, 8. That's why France is wrestling with this issue. Do you want to wrestle with this issue here in America? Neither do I. We'll be right back.
Do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone into the world. By this you will know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua, Jesus, has come in the flesh is not of God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have already heard was coming, and is now already in the world. 1 John 4:1.
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
Chaplain Collins LLC is our emergency first responders for their professionalism, commitment, and grace. They're willing to put their lives on the line for us with little or no thanks. So let's all take the time to thank our first responders for all they do for us. Also thanking our veterans for the sacrifice they made for our freedom. This message is from Chaplain Collins LLC, the two locations in Denver and Fort Collins, serving the community for over 13 years. Visit them online at chaplaincollins.com. Piccolo's Restaurant Denver finds that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters that play. If you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's Restaurant is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
We've got 4 minutes left, and we're going to use them wisely. Item from the Sacramento Bee, Dateline, Bonn, Germany. 9 days into his European trip, Jerry Brown might have been enjoying himself. The Democratic governor had just wrapped interviews with Japanese and German reporters late Saturday after holding a climate coalition signing ceremony with Terry McAuliffe, or His Excellency, the honorific used for the governor of Virginia. Oregon Governor Kate Brown and billionaire environmental activist Tom Steyer were also at the photo op. That's when Brown was asked whether he enjoyed it at the UN climate conference. "No, I hate everything," he said, allowing the slightest smile. "Why do you ask that silly question?" Unquote. My friends, if it seems to you like a crazy answer, if it seems to you like the guy who said it has got a screw loose, well, yeah, this is Governor Moonbeam of California, the loopiest, looniest state in the union. So nothing this guy says or does surprises me. Item from Breitbart. In a new biography by Keith Kofler, Breitbart News Executive Chairman Stephen K. Bannon shares his reminiscences about Edward Gibbon's The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, calling the tome one of the 6 most formative influences that he's had, and comparing America's challenges to those which our forebears succumbed to. Now, I'm not a multiculturalist, Bannon relates in the book Bannon, Always the Rebel, explaining, quote, America has an underlying culture that's been passed down from Jerusalem to Athens to Rome to London. It's the belief in self-reliance. It's the belief in the self-determination of the individual. It's freedom to be the traditional family. the culture that is our way of life. I think it's absolutely vital and important. And we have an obligation to those that came before us as much as we have an obligation to the people in the future to pass that down. The Romans, Bannon gleans from Gibbon, quote, are the people most like us. They built this great empire, and how it all slipped away over time, unquote. My friends, our country is slipping away over time. Item from Breitbart, 3 out of 4 college-educated Democrats seem to believe a man can be a woman if he just says so, regardless of his biology, genetics, and genitalia, according to a skewed survey conducted by the Pew Research Center. The main question in the August to September survey of 4,573 people is built on the phrase, sex assigned at birth. But that phrase was invented by transgender activists to help them claim that every person's sex is independent of their biology, and that a newborn's sex should not be unfairly, quote, assigned by the doctors and parents who examine the newborn's biology and visible genitalia. The Pew survey asked which statement comes closer to your views, even if neither is exactly right. Whether someone is a man or a woman is determined by the sex they're assigned at birth, or someone can be a man or a woman even if that's different from the sex they were assigned at birth. According to Pew's write-up, the survey finds Democrats with a bachelor's degree or more education are more likely than other Democrats to say a person's gender can be different from the sex they are assigned at birth. About 3/4, 77% of Democrats with a bachelor's degree or more say this, unquote. So, my friends, the next time you go to vote and you're thinking about voting for a Democrat, remember, 3/4 of Democrats who are surveyed say that when you look at a child that's just been born, you cannot tell if it's a boy or a girl. And you won't know until the child gets older and can tell you him or herself. That's the kind of loony, crazed up, insane, nonsensical, ridiculous crap you get from Democrats. And so I'm telling you, you vote for Democrats, you're going to get a mixed up, scrambled America, which is what we have thanks to Democrats. I will see you tomorrow with more Real Truth, my friends. Hasta luego.